Dragon Ball Kakumei's previous chapter would leave the fighters across planet Sadala in shambles. I'm talking Vegeta, Kale, Caulifla, Kaba, and King Sadala. None of them could have imagined that the very first one to be executed would be an innocent bystander in Chile, and in such a brutal way. Right in front of Broly, who at that very moment exploded into a tirade that his aura alone sent ripples throughout Universe 6. And right when it looked like Broly was about to eclipse unrivaled Saiyan power, we get smacked with that cliffhanger. But now, right now at the top of the screen and below in the comments will be the entire Dragon Ball Kakumei story up until this video, of course, so be sure to go watch that to catch up. Be sure to go support and follow all of the creators of the Dragon Ball Kakumei fan manga, which will be linked down below in the description box, because trust me guys, as you can see, they put in a ton of work on this thing. This month, however, in chapter 16, we would find ourselves in a place that we haven't seen in months, actually. Let me introduce you all to Dragon Ball Kakumei. It's now been 5 months since Majin Buu was trapped in the Demon Realm, and around 6 since the Grand Priest froze Universe 0, as we see Majin Buu standing atop a mountain of snacks and candy. Unaware of how to get back into Universe 7 himself, he has a good time and just kinda stuffs his face with all of the food around him. This place is heaven, he bursts out saying. All of a sudden, however, this is when he notices the little robot that ported him here in the first place after the malfunction back in the surface world. It's the little thing that brought me here, Buu says as he approaches the robot, but I still don't know what it is. And where's Mr. Satan, he says with a distraught look on his face. Seems as if it's finally safe to approach you, Majin Buu, a voice says as we can see someone walking towards Buu from his 6 o'clock. When he turns around, we see a tall, slender man who very obviously resembles a demon, one who's only so scarcely evaded the wrath of a hungry Majin Buu these past couple of months. And how did this guy make it through a whole season of surviving Majin Buu? Well, he tapped in and left a like on the video, you guys already know. Who are you? You don't look like the others that I turned into candy, Majin Buu says. Archduke, the man replies, but Triguna will be more than enough for you, Majin Buu. I don't understand, Buu replies sharply, but I sense malice in you just like the others, and Mr. Satan told me to deal with all of those who seem malicious. So turn into nougat, he shrieks, as he begins to fire his candy beam at Triguna. Wait, he pleads as Buu stops and Triguna continues to approach. You're in the demon realm and I am one, of course, so it's agreed that malevolence is leaking from my aura, but you're a demon too, yet you have a good heart, don't you, he asks. That's right, Buu replies. Buu has a good heart. What do you want from me then, he asks. Triguna replies that for 5 whole months, primary demons have been trying to approach Majin Buu calmly, and Buu has just been unleashing his candy beam on them left and right to feed himself. But you seem to have transformed all of the demons in the area, if not more, he continues, so our sovereign asked me to fetch you directly, and here I am. Okay, Buu nods. You know what this is, he asks as he shows him the robot. Triguna would respond, well, I'm not a scientist, but we have a lot of people who can probably figure out the secrets of this technology. I came here with it, and I think Mr. Satan is worried, Buu tells him, so Triguna begins leading him deeper into the realm to meet their ruler. Over in Universe 6, the aftermath of a shameful mauling is underway. In a distant dwelling, we can see Hit, who seems to have brought someone else to this planet with him. Wide awake, Hit asks. This is what it costs you to have the audacity to take on someone stronger than you, Frost. I just didn't expect that, Frost replies, who we see in a rejuvenation mask and looking extremely humbled. I've been reduced to this state now. You naturally returned to your restricted form, probably to save yourself, and remained in a coma for 5 months. I might as well tell you that this is the last time I want to deal with you, he concludes. You brought me back here while I was being sought, Frost responds, though. You could have taken me to Sadala's Special Forces or turned me over to the Galactic Patrol, and you didn't. What a surprise. A reason, perhaps, he nudges? Do you know where we are, Frost? Hit asks. Frost would look around frantically, zipping all over the place in his little pod until finally, he realizes where Hit has brought him, and his jaw drops. Hit has brought him to none other than Planet Frost 586. Curse you, he trembles. I won't hand you over to anyone, Hit tells him, because no one has hired me to do so. I don't consider myself to be worth more than you in terms of what I've done so far, so I'm not gonna hand you over to the authorities. However, you left this planet abandoned after organizing piracy scenes on its entire surface. You then made its inhabitants believe that you had saved them from their enemies who, in reality, were your own accomplices. You left the inhabitants of this planet in total misery after you realized that it wasn't worth a damn, and now they know you're here. They're just waiting for you to wake up and make you pay for everything you've done to them. Frost is stunned, and he's absolutely not in the shape to take on an entire civilization. He frantically tries to shoot Hit with a finger beam, but Hit appears behind him in the blink of an eye with such swiftness, resting both hands on Frost's shoulders calmly. You're not the only one who's consumed by a need for revenge. Do you feel that yours is more legitimate than theirs, he asks. I've already shown you that I'm stronger than you. Now, you have to show me that your speech is worthwhile. Then I'll think about it, Hit tells him. This is when Frost would remember his own words from before, when he said, I know how it feels to be forced into a mold, which is why my kind is so persistent. I'm telling you all this because it almost sounds like you don't like your job, or even your life perhaps. All of a sudden, this is when Hit vanishes, leaving Frost to ponder his next move. And what am I supposed to do? Frost begins to rage. They know I'm on their planet, fine, but do they know where I am exactly? I don't care. I'll make them all kneel before me and I'll destroy their miserable little planet as a thank you. Yeah, that's it, but by doing so, I do risk attracting the attention of the galactic authorities, and from what Hit told me, if I'm going to be getting my revenge, I have to prove to him that I can follow through on my convictions. Well, I guess I should at least get out of this place first, he says. As we cut back to our demon realm in Universe 7 momentarily, we can see Majin Buu flying with Triguna. It is an honor to be in the company of the great Majin Buu, he tells him. To see you, during these months, crush the primary species throwing themselves at you without letting the slightest trace of fatigue show was impressive. Yeah, Buu sleeps for a few seconds and is recharged for a long time, Buu replies. A few seconds? My. We soon arrive at our Sovereign's Tower, Triguna declares. Buu asks if Sovereign is something that can be eaten, to which of course Triguna tells him no. Their Lord Sovereign is the ruler of the Demon Kingdom. Oh, okay. Too bad, Buu replies. Superior to the primary race of this world, of course, Triguna begins, which are both Indian and artificial beings. We nobles of the demon realm come from the same fruit trees as the Supreme Kais. I think you've dealt with them before. Majin Buu does have his own storied history with the Supreme Kais, of course. When we emerge, we are destined to become either Kais or Supreme Kais, but it would seem that our existences as demons is related to the overall standard of living in the universe in which we're born. The more the imbalance between creation and destruction increases, the more likely it is that fruits will become corrupted, giving the rise to demon Kais. I myself was born from one of these corrupted fruits, just like Deborah, the former king of demons whom you killed. Here we are, he declares as they finally arrive at the tower. Triguna says that their sovereign is at the top of this tower, but he wants Buu to go upstairs and confront their fighters before they meet. Buu would ponder this momentarily and then ask, so if I beat them and I meet Sovereign, you'll make sure it's fixed, he says as he presents the robot again. I will order all scientists in this kingdom to look into this matter, Triguna responds, so Buu agrees. Now, Buu wastes no time as he suddenly just releases a powerful blast that completely swarms the inside of the tower from the ground up, surely destroying anything and everyone inside. Triguna's jaw hits the floor as he asks Buu, did he seriously have to destroy everything? Our most important fighters are now all dead. Yeah, but why doesn't this thing fall, Buu asks, as the tower still weirdly stands although crumbled to pieces from his attack. Triguna tells him that, well, gravity doesn't always have a say in this world, as Buu then flies to the top of the tower and finds his own way inside. Boo would look around but doesn't necessarily see anyone of interest around, so he continues walking. "What a joyous event to see you here today," a deep voice echoes from the chambers around him. "Good evening, Majin Buu." "Oh, hey, is that you, Sovereign?" Boo asks, completely unafraid of this ghostly silhouette emerging from the shadows. This is when a tiny dwarf man would finally come into the light, and he introduces himself as a man named Higatus. "I am indeed the absolute ruler of this place, otherwise known as the Demon Supreme Kai." "Wait, but I know you," Boo says as he points at the small man. "I know you were Bibbidi, I think. I don't know anymore." "Very impressive," Higatus responds. "I did indeed have connections with the wizard Bibbidi several million years ago." "So he was your friend?" Boo asks, beginning to get upset. "Certainly not. Bibbidi was a selfish wizard seeking control over the entire world. He simply realized that there was some sort of unhealthy singularity in the depths of the universe. The embodiment of evil that seemed to take shape, but you were at that moment, it would seem, only a concept that fed on all of the bad energy around. My mission was to get you back and bring you here, while he would bring to life the concept that you were. It all happened exactly as he had planned, and once you'd come to life, you, Majin Buu, who, by the way, doesn't look at all like what I observed at that time, you exploded with rage and destroyed like 80% of this place, so Bibbidi took that opportunity to leave with you. And as if that wasn't enough, it was his alter ego Bobbidi who had the nerve to come back here and force corruption upon Deborah. So no, believe me or not, Bibbidi was anything but a friend to me." As Higatus finishes his speech, he notices that Boo wasn't really paying all that much attention to him anyway, as he still has some snacks to eat. Treguna would kneel before Higatus, apologizing for Majin Buu's behavior, for lack of better words. This is when he turns again to Majin Buu and says, "Look, what I'm getting at is that now that you're here and with the war on the horizon, I want you to be our hound, our ultimate weapon." "So what do you say, big guy?" he asks. Boo would rise back up to his feet again and then produce the robot once more to them, saying that if they fix this so he can talk to Hercule, then he has no problem helping them. Treguna would take the robot down to the labs, as Higatus tells Boo that he even once knew the progenitor of these angels who sit atop everything, the mother of the angels, Kansei, and he's about 100% sure that she'll want to enlist them and all of the other demon realms of the universes, so they'd like his help to have a consistent defense in case. Again, Boo, you looked much more dangerous than your past form, but I think I know just what to exploit in you to enable you to become even stronger, he finishes. "I think you're aware of your special ability, correct? The absorption technique." Back on planet Frost, we hop right on over to Universe 6 again as we see Frost trying to escape his accountability. He would come across his first inhabitant of the planet up close as he tries to make a run for it, and funnily enough, the guy weirdly resembles Hit, which kinda scares him, and me too. Hit would sit upon a cliffside somewhere in the distance, observing to see just what Frost is gonna choose. This is when he's approached by someone else who appears behind him saying, "So, here he is at last. And you're sure this guy is capable of doing anything?" she asks. Hit responds that no one can ever be sure of anything, but I'm pretty relaxed about it. "Hit, we called on you because we're more or less certain that your reputation precedes you, but to bring in this man who has done us so much harm, I don't see how he can save us. We're talking about a solar flare so powerful that it will reduce all of us to ashes in a few seconds," she finishes, to which Hit just tells her to have faith. "Screw it," Frost says to himself. "I just gotta get out of here and head straight for space. If that stupid Hitman won't teach me anything, then I guess I'll just take revenge on my own. Too bad." Frost would launch himself into the sky as he heads for the planet's outer atmosphere, but all of a sudden, a hidden jab pierces him in the torso. In the distance, we can see that Hit has fired a warning shot at Frost, letting him know that he's still watching. "I warned you, Frost," he declares. "I only aimed at your kidney. Next time, it'll be your heart. I see you. I'll follow you. No matter what you try to do to get away, I will stop you. Understand? Scum, Frost utters. This man looked like you. Where the hell am I? All of a sudden, every soul in existence would freeze. A blood-curdling roar so thunderous echoes through the cosmos that both Frost and Hit are frozen to the bone from the intensity. This is so terrifyingly beautiful. So much emotion in one scene. A monstrous wave of energy could be seen traveling through the whole of Universe 6, and it is absolutely no secret where or who this originates from. No creature in this entire universe, when touched by such energy, escapes the all-consuming fear that plunges them into an abyss of unfathomable anguish. And in the blink of an eye, in the next panel, Broly's soul is damn near leaving his body with the amount of rage pouring, just erupting out of him. And wow, I just really gotta take a minute and just say great job to Poison Labo, bro. Your art is otherworldly. Over on planet Sadala, the rage of a Saiyan echoes with a deafening roar to the heart of every single life form, even light years away from that single spot, as something unequivocally dangerous has already spawned before the war has even begun. That's it, keep going, a badly beaten up Doula would exclaim as Broly's anger seems to literally burst from his skin. I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, Broly has completely lost all sense of self or surrounding, it looks like, as his aura alone radiates this half of the galaxy. Dragon Ball Kakumei is back with chapter 17 much sooner than usual, guys, and according to Rinko himself, the series is now going to release twice a month instead of once, so be sure to sub here to never miss an episode and follow all of the creators. Links will be down below in the description box. Broly's rage would continue to consume him. His body looks like it can barely contain his ever-rising power. The Saiyan who had gone mad pushes shrill and immeasurable cries, and with the simple force of his voice, the scream of Broly crosses the space at a dizzying speed and strikes all of the stars on its way, even the most distant star. Its planet system goes out in a supernova, all stemming from one's pure emotions, manifesting into something unexplainable, like having not clicked the like button by now. This is unthinkable, King Sadala says, as he can only look on in horror at the sheer terror of what a simple roar from an enraged Broly resulted in for the rest of the galaxy. The sky. These hundreds of lights are caused by screams of Broly, he goes on. They aren't simple explosions either. They're supernovas, but at the sight of what was happening to Broly, a piercing flashback would intrude his memories. No. I can't afford to daydream here, he says, snapping out of it. I have to pull myself together. As Chile's lifeless body falls from the sky, King Sadala flies off to catch her and then alerts Admiral Fennel. Recover the girl and bring her expressly towards the Tuffle lab, he shouts. Perhaps it's not too late. Understood, she replies. Another Saiyan soldier named Parsa would call out to her and offer to come with. She asks if he'll be able to keep up, and upon confirming, she transforms into a Super Saiyan, tells Nemo to hop on her back, and then the four of them fly off. This is when King Sadala would turn his attention back to Broly and be both amazed and alarmed at the kind of man he had become. His face was literally tearing apart from the pure rage coursing through him, the heat of his own aggression singeing his body to a crisp. Worldbreaker Broly looked like he was seconds away from exploding like a star in the distant solar system. What happened to him, Doula asks. Why doesn't this big guy move anymore? You have absolutely no idea of the seriousness of your act, Vegeta shouts desperately, knowing what's to come. However, Amaran would quickly remind him where his attention should be lying after piercing him through the shoulder with his sight. This is when Broly would finally make his move and goes to grab Doula, or at least attempts to, surely meaning his demise if he's able to get him in his grasp. However, Doula would once again use his portal technique to redirect Broly entirely to where Admiral Ruber was located. Broly doesn't give a damn who's on the receiving end of his attacks right now though, as he grabs Ruba by the legs, drags him through the portal, and slams him face first into the ground. Broly would then continue his onslaught in a blind rage by grabbing the already unconscious Ruba by the face and throwing him into the air. Broly would then prepare a mouth beam of enormous proportions, firing wildly. This doesn't look good, Caulifla confirms. Kale, you have to go back. Broly has completely lost it. You're the only one that understands what's going on in this state. And you? Will you be okay? She responds to her in Kaba. Caulifla assures her though that this underestimation is unnecessary, with Kaba confirming that they'll settle accounts with the cowards who caused this and then meet back with her as soon as possible. They all wish each other good luck as they all transform into Super Saiyan and then head their separate ways. As Kale flies back towards the center of the chaos, she passes by Chile being escorted to safety by Admiral Fennel, and I think she maybe realizes something here but hurries as fast as she can. Even further, Broly's mouth beam is about to decimate Ruba, but he's conveniently saved by Admiral Lyric as Dula looks on watching. Skunk, the king would utter as he looks up at Dula. You knew he wouldn't just attack you, right? Dula would just shrug, but this type of anger was undoubtedly deadly to everyone here. The sin Dula had committed though is unforgivable. King Sadala would ready himself for battle, but as he looks down and sees his men in a scramble, he tells Dula that he absolutely will not let him get away with this. And? What do I care, huh? You too big king, Dula replies. I don't take orders from anyone except the venerable heir, who is, by the way, taking care of your biggest asset right now, he says, as we see Amaran with his chain sickle wrapped around Vegeta's throat. Stop procrastinating and get over here, the king will reply. Dula would oblige his threat and begin creating a plethora of portals around him. Magma would then begin seeping and being transferred over from the portals Dula created, manipulating the landscape around him. King Sadala still refused to back down, however. The rest of the Saiyans would mobilize and do the best they can to buy time for King Sadala, holding off Broly as long as possible. Come on, let's protect Planet Sadala as we always have, they roar. They would approach Broly, who still embodied the flames of rage completely, and begin falling before him with relative ease. Broly would grab them by their limbs, throw them around, tanks all of their energy attacks even at point-blank range. This mammoth, this beast of a man was no longer in control. The uncontrollable emotions and bloodlust had won, and on this day, because of Dula, Broly could be the very cause of the extermination of the Saiyans of Universe 6. What the hell are you all doing? Admiral Lyric shouts as Broly's aura begins to release a smokish-like texture. Keep your distance! But it was too late. Broly's rage would reach a boiling point akin to an atomic bomb. At the point of detonation, every Saiyan within range of Broly's explosive anger would be crippled in his wake. Dozens of Saiyans blown away like specks of dust before Broly's uncontrollable rampage. But it just honestly gets worse from there. Broly would grab one Saiyan by the head and, well, I've seen balloons be harder to pop than that. This is the apex Saiyan right now, running wild. Dula would find some sick satisfaction and entertainment in what his actions have caused here today, it seems, as he says that it looks like he's settled all accounts of this so-called king, so the job here is nearly over, assuming him to be dead. However, when we turn back to King Sadala, it looks like he's had enough. The king has finally stepped forward and is prepared to lay down his very life to quell the chaos these unwanted visitors have bestowed upon them. You fool, he says to Dula as he stands there, completely unfazed somehow by the magma falling all around him and over his body. I've been through hell and back. I haven't been afraid of the heat for a long time now, he says, with Dula finally seeming to realize that he hasn't stumbled across any ordinary Saiyans on this day. And I don't think Broly will stop at anything until everything around him is destroyed. Twice a month, absolutely fire, but I swear to you, this new schedule for Dragon Ball Kakumei, it sneaks up on you. Like, even right now, this isn't my usual video attire. I'm supposed to be at the gym. In the previous chapter, we saw Berserker Broly continuing his rampage against pretty much everyone in Universe 6 at this point after the death of Chile at the hands of Dula. Eventually, his Universe 6 counterpart, Kale, would arrive on the scene, but even after a short moment of intimacy between their two psyches, Not even she was able to calm this man down. That's a committed nigga right there. I mean, me personally, I've never seen a Super Saiyan cheat on their girl. I don't know about you. But at the very least, it looks like King Sadala himself is finally ready to join the battle and fight alongside his Saiyan brethren. But more disaster is right around the corner, as you'll see here yourself soon enough. Berserker Broly was problematic enough, but this wasn't the only dilemma Vegeta had on his mind after that earlier threat from Amaran. As a never-ending rampage terrorizes Universe 6, Chile's life still hangs in the balance as Admiral Fennel races against the clock to get her back to Bulma. So I see a ton of you guys caught up and are coming back from our 3-hour-long Kakumei video a lot, so I want to remind you guys to support the official creators of Dragon Ball Kakumei by following all of them. All of their links will be down below in the description box and pinned in the comments. And while you're at it, you might as well hit the like button too. It takes like an extra half second, but without further ado, let's hop right into Dragon Ball Kakumei Chapter 19. Admiral Fennel along with Lemo are moving as fast as they can towards the others stationed back at the Tuffle factory in Universe 6. Chile is still barely clinging to life after that sneak attack from Dula that sent Broly spiraling into a rampage, but soon enough, they would arrive at their destination. Admiral Fennel, Kappa remarks as he notices them rushing in the front door. Chile, what happened? Be careful, Fennel replies. She is in an extremely unstable state. Doctors, you have to do something. This is when Bulma bursts into the room asking what on earth happened to Chile. One of those demons really wanted to enrage Broly and, well, he succeeded unfortunately, Fennel says as she places Chile on a table nearby. They then get straight to work on getting Chile back into stable condition. Later on, however, it doesn't seem like she's improved too much. She's in critical condition, Bulma says, but she is still with us. Let's be optimistic at least. We didn't see this coming at all, Fennel replies. That monster got what he wanted, and here we are in this situation. It kind of seems like everyone is putting at least a little bit of the blame on themselves for what happened to Chile, but the blame truly only belongs to one person. If only we could have been there to stop him, Caulifla says saddened. Kappa reassures her though that Vegeta specifically asked them to protect Bulma, so they couldn't have been there to change anything. Oh, speaking of, Bulma asserts, I haven't seen a trace of any demons around here. Admiral Fennel would confirm that Salaga actually left long before them though, so it amazes her that he hasn't arrived yet. Though to me personally, it's more suspicious than anything. Maybe he decided to back out once he saw he was being chased, Caulifla mentions, but Kaba doesn't think so. It seems to me that that's very unlikely considering what they've shown to be capable of up until now, he replies. Alright, I went around the entire building and isolated all of the at-risk people. The building is now almost empty, a young man named Parsa says to Bulma as he then enters the room. Thank you, Bulma replies. She then goes on to question him a little more because, as I said prior, it's probably a bit more suspicious than amazing that there's been absolutely no sign of Salaga here yet. Parsa, you didn't feel any evil presence where you went by any chance, did you? She asks. Fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, no. I have no idea where Parsa begins, but all of a sudden he finds himself in what seems to be another realm entirely, or maybe just an illusion playing tricks on him. What the, he begins, but this is when another being from the shadows, who is very self-aware mind you, says, so your name is Parsa, is it? You may not be remembered after this, but you will at least be recognized as my first victim here, Salaga says as he finally emerges from the shadows, but still undetectable by the naked eye thanks to his spell. What is it? Can't you move? He says, mocking the stunned warrior, and if it wasn't clear before, he has now obviously been put under some type of genjutsu spell something. It's rude. I've come to you in this case, Salaga says as he approaches Parsa. I am only an executor. The venerable heir ordered me to take care of this Bulma, and you are but an obstacle. The concern being that once I've taken care of you, the others will be alerted of my presence anyway. I had to act sooner or later, so let me tell you that I will be indebted to you until the day that we meet in the afterlife, Salaga says as the next thing we see, he's impaled Parsa directly through the torso with his bare hand on some Dr. Gero shit, gouging him through and through. Parsa would drop dead in the middle of the lab, but there was still no clear sign of Salaga anywhere. Kaba and Caulifla ready themselves for an enemy that they can't even see at the moment. So this stupid scum finally decided to show themselves, Caulifla says, getting fired up. We have to immediately move from here, Kaba declares. He's after Bulma, not Chile. You're right, Admiral Fennel says, as she then grabs hold of Bulma, and then the three relocate to a little more suitable area for whenever Salaga makes his next move. Back with the main group of Tuffles, it seems like the evacuation was a success for the most part, as everyone is being rounded up and accounted for. Your father seems really committed, Rapini says to her son Peppino. Anyway, I sincerely hope Bulma's doing well. I don't see her with us anywhere. I'm starting to get a little worried. When she says this, however, all of a sudden Peppino jumps up and launches himself over the crowd. As Kaba and Caulifla finally meet back up, he asks her if she's seen anything weird yet, but as she begins to answer no, a blood-curdling grunt roars across the room. No, Bulma stutters as she points towards Fennel. Salaga was currently doing his best to try to immobilize the Admiral as well. This bastard's doing the same thing to the Admiral as he did to Parsa, Kaba declares. We have to stop him now. Inside this weird rip-off Tsukuyomi though, Fennel would awaken with Salaga already preparing to land the kill shot, saying, "Wake up. Can you see me now? Good, you'll be my second victim. Congratulations," he says, as he gets ready to stab her straight through the torso as well until Caulifla would land a decisive punch to the Admiral that snaps her out of this paralyzing spell. Nice work, Caulifla, she says, with her head definitely ringing after that one, but at least it worked and she's not dead like Parsa. Salaga, on the other hand, begins to sneakily reposition himself where Bulma is, as his spell has been broken now. However, this is nowhere near the only trick he came here today prepared with. How did you know? Salaga sincerely asked him, as even through this panic, they were able to make a calm and calculated decision like that. I know enchanters like you, Fennel declares. The worst that can happen to us is that they hypnotize us and make us powerless to move for a while. Therefore, I already went ahead and warned all of my comrades beforehand that we must be careful to always stay together to react to if one of us is caught, she says. Excellent job, Caulifla. You knew exactly how to take advantage of Admiral Ruba's teachings. You had to act quickly while also thinking about how to parry spells of this nature. I guess it's true, Caulifla replies. That big fatty did teach me quite a few things. I simply acted in the best way possible at the time, thinking that maybe a strong enough shot could break the spell. While that may sound ridiculous, it worked. But while these three continue to suck themselves off over there, Salaga is in a much better position than them, as he says that such powerful magic is bound to have backlash indeed. But here I am, exactly where I wanted to be, in perfect position to finish off Bulma, as another shocking chapter of Dragon Ball Kakumei comes to an end, with Bulma of all people possibly meeting her end next. And if that happens, I can't imagine the mayhem, the pandemonium on planet Sadala. Hopefully, for the love of God though, Kaba and Caulifla have this covered, but I guess we're gonna have to wait until April 26th for chapter 20 of Dragon Ball Kakumei. Make sure you subscribe, have those notifications on, and if you want to go above and beyond at any point, consider becoming a member as well, because I do like those. Love you guys, peace. It's been a while since we looked back on Dragon Ball Kakumei, but chapter 20 of the greatest fan manga of our time is finally here, and there's a lot going on, so drop a like and don't forget to subscribe for more Dragon Ball content, and let's hop right in. When we last left off in Dragon Ball Kakumei, Bulma has been cornered by Salaga at the orders of Amaran, and now he's separated her from the others. He reaches out his hand to her, but before Salaga can do anything, an energy beam pierces through his head. Kaba warns Salaga don't dare touch Bulma as he flies in already in Super Saiyan 2. Unfortunately, this attack did nothing to Salaga and his wound is already gone. Didn't Kaba's attack do anything to him? It pierced his skull, Caulifla says to herself, but Salaga warns them that he has more than one trick up his sleeve, and then turns his attention back to Bulma. All of a sudden, he's sent backwards by some kind of air thrust wave attack as another person has arrived to the battle. Peppino, the Saiyan Tuffle hybrid of Universe 6, appears to protect Bulma as well, only to turn around and get blasted by Salaga right through the stomach. Well, while Peppino lays on the ground dead, Kaba and Caulifla power up angrily and try to attack Salaga from a blind spot, but he raises his hand and punches them both without so much as moving from the spot he stands on. "I'm done playing," he tells them. But when we take another look at Peppino, a robotic voice states that the restructuring process is commencing. Even Salaga is shocked as Peppino rises again, completely healed, saying that not even they expected that to happen. Being near death has brought Peppino to a new level of strength. Those Saiyan genes are kind of working overtime right now. "So you're into magic too," Salaga asks. Fascinating. Although Peppino states that they don't believe in that crap. "You're in the land of the highest technology in Universe 6, and I'm gonna prove your tricks don't work on me." "The man who has no imagination has no wings," Salaga tells Peppino, who still isn't buying it. Peppino tells the others to get Bulma out of here before clashing with Salaga in the middle of the room. The Saiyans grab up Bulma and fly off, but Salaga is through with the games. He grabs Peppino and tosses the Tuffle into the sky straight through the ceiling. As soon as Peppino stops their momentum though, Salaga appears overhead, charging up another attack, daring Peppino to try and stop this with their technology. As the explosion goes off, the Saiyans turn around and Caulifla even asks if they really think a Tuffle can get the better of this guy. Back at the battle though, Peppino realizes that Salaga has been holding back a massive amount and asks why, if he was able to just destroy this whole area with one simple attack. Salaga explains that his mission is Bulma and Bulma only. He was ordered not to harm any other life. The Saiyans are merely just obstacles in his way, prolonging things. All of a sudden, Peppino takes this opportunity and catches Salaga off guard, appearing behind him and puts him in a headlock. The Peppino on the ground was just a hologram this whole time. They nosedive towards the ground primary Lotus style, but it seems Salaga was just an illusion this whole time as well. He turns the tables and appears behind and grabs Peppino by the neck. "You seem indestructible," Peppino shouts. "You leave me no choice." All of a sudden, Peppino summons a whirlwind somehow and breaks free of Salaga's grasp, showing a new advancement in the Tuffle technology, turning their arms into some sort of super weapon. Peppino goes on to explain how growing up amongst the Saiyans of Universe 6 made them feel weak and inadequate. But the brilliance of the Tuffle shone through, and Peppino chose to lean completely into their intellectuality. "I've worked for years to compensate for this natural gap in strength, and I finally found an alternative. Let me introduce you to my masterpiece," Peppino says, as they unleash their most devastating attack on Salaga. I hope you guys are excited to travel back to Universe 7 after all this time, because a lot has happened. Back on planet Lestia, Whis looks more than pleased at the results he's seeing. It's been several months since Goten and Trunks began the second stage of their training, and the results are undeniable. It's with a strong will and strong desire to become even stronger that the sons of Goku and Vegeta have finally risen to the rank of God Ki. Super Saiyan God Goten and Trunks have finally been born. In only a few months, they've done it. I sincerely congratulate the two of you on your progress over the last few months, Whis says. Your power is nothing like what you had when you left Earth. In addition, you came close to death on each of your 9 attempts. Had you tried one more time, you'd be dead for sure, no matter your training beforehand. This stuns the two boys, but the risk was surely worth the reward for all their treacherous work. Trunks begins to realize just how much blood, sweat, and tears his father put into achieving such a state. Congratulating themselves for achieving such a feat is much deserved, but now they want to go join Vegeta in Universe 6 and fight alongside the rest of the Saiyans. They start making all sorts of plans, but little do they know their training is far from over. Whis continues to walk forward and then asks them, "So are you ready for your final test?" Wait, wasn't the Super Saiyan God the final step? This is when a giant door all of a sudden appears in front of them, and it looks like they've been taken to another dimension altogether. "Why are we here, Whis?" they ask. Whis explains that it's been just over 6 months since the Grand Priest's announcement. You now possess God Ki and have developed the Super Saiyan God form. However, at your current strength, you wouldn't last a day in the war coming. Wait, are the gods that threaten us really that powerful, Goten asks? Whis replies that since they weren't present during the battle against Zamasu or even the Tournament of Power, their view of reality is skewed to say the least. You two have no idea how powerful your coming opponents will be. Everything should turn out okay though, right? Trunks says. I mean, we have my dad, Majin Buu. Piccolo, Gohan, 17, and even that Jiren guy my dad told me about will be there. But Whis puts things into such a perspective that it stuns them to the core. I estimate it would be quite a feat for Lord Beerus to emerge alive from this, Whis says. Inferiority quickly overcomes Goten and Trunks as they realize if Lord Beerus is fighting an uphill battle, then what chance do they have? 6 months ago, you were just average fighters for Universe 7. Now that you've tamed God Ki, it's just the beginning of the real thing. I brought you to this place because it's where I've done the majority of my training since my existence began. This place can be likened to what you would call the hyperbolic time chamber, Whis says. This is a dimension only accessible to those with God Ki, into which I can take you at will. Only 2 people at a time besides myself can stay, so I opted for this as your final preparation. 4 hours in here will equate to 1 hour on Earth. This way, instead of a year and a half, you'll have an extra 6 years in which to train. Get ready, Whis warns them, as this next test won't be anything like the last. 6 years is a long time though, and Goten and Trunks can't even imagine being in their 20s when they come out. You too have a part to play in the coming conflict, Whis says to them. You have the fate of your family and friends in your hands. Prove to me that I wasn't wrong to take you on as students. Goten and Trunks step forward accepting the challenge, but for this last test, for them to ascend, they must achieve what their fathers could not. Hit him. The boys are shocked at their last test, but Whis assures them that they must surpass themselves and become the ones to save Goku and the multiverse. The takeover of the next generation begins now, as Goten and Trunks are guaranteed to surprise everyone when they do finally arrive at that battlefield. Kakumei is finally back after a pretty long hiatus, but we're picking up right where we left off, and you aren't going to want to miss this one, so be sure to leave a like on the video, share the video, and subscribe for more. And if you guys want to support the original creators of Dragon Ball Kakumei, all of those guys' links will be down below in the description and in the pinned comment. As we pick up in chapter 21, Cabba, Caulifla, and Admiral Fennel are taking Bulma to safety. Excuse me, but can we stop for a moment? Bulma asks. I think we've gone far enough to talk to you guys about something. Alright, Captain Cabba, Caulifla, we're landing, but stay alert, Fennel says to them. They land on a plot of land down below when Bulma goes on to explain to them that she took extra precautions for a situation just like this. She shows them the Hoi Poi capsules that her family's enterprise is known for. Cabba seems to know a lot about these capsules and how they can be used to transport large objects, but Bulma explains to them that the one weakness is that they can't contain living beings. Wonder how they tested that one out. What's your point? Caulifla interjects, to which Bulma just smirks and activates the capsule in her hand. Well, thanks to the help of the tougher researchers, I've solved the problem, she says, as the capsule reveals a large residential type structure. The living organism simply climbs into this cabin, and the Hoi Poi capsules take care of reducing this new device, and the atoms of the living body follow suit. And there's more, she goes on. Here's a reproduction of the Scouters that the Saiyans of my universe used to wear, she says, as she presents a briefcase with redesigned Scouters for them. Put one to your ear and you'll be able to keep in touch with me once I'm in the capsule, Bulma says, as Caulifla puts one on, and Bulma has one on as well. Good. I wish you all good luck, and I can't thank you enough for what you're doing for me, she says. She gets inside the cabin and the capsule shrinks back to miniature size as Cabba goes to keep it secure, and once he does that, Bulma comes screeching through the speaker in his ear, causing him to fall, but he's able to hear her loud and clear. It's like a luxury hotel in here, Bulma says, enjoying this mission a little too much probably. I'm completely undetectable, by the way, she tells them, so take care of yourselves, and if I have any ideas or requests, I'll let you guys know. Alright, Miss Bulma, we'll do our best, Cabba says. Even Caulifla seems to be warming up to Bulma a bit as she says that she's nothing like Vegeta. She has too much class. Now, all we have to do is decide on who will be in charge of Mrs. Bulma's protection, Cabba says, to which Caulifla makes fun of him for being so formal with Universe 7 all the time. Your beanpole skills suit you perfectly, my little Cabba, so we'll leave you in charge of her protection, and if you succeed, at least you'll be able to rise in your idol's esteem. You sure know how to talk to me, Cabba replies. Well, what she's trying to say, Admiral Fennel interjects, is that she has full confidence in you and thinks you're the best person while protecting your own. She doesn't put it like that, but she likes you. Mind your business, Caulifla says while blushing. Kaba proposes that he, Kel, and Caulifla all get back to training together once this is all over, and as they prepare to set out, Caulifla tells Kaba that he better not die, and likewise to her from him. I'll get Bulma to safety. For the rest, I'm counting on you, he says to her. And this is when Bulma cuts in again though and tells them that the whole reason for her traveling like this is so they don't have to worry about her safety. She tells Kaba to go all out, and if anything still happens to her even while she's in this miniature form, then that's just the way it goes. Well, Kaba, the girls ask him, now what will you do? That means I can't afford to make mistakes, Kaba says, getting serious now. He and Caulifla transform into Super Saiyan 2 before setting off. Back at the battle between Vegeta and Amaran, Amaran is analyzing Vegeta very carefully and makes an acute observation. You have more strength than you're allowed in this blue form, don't you? He asks. Vegeta says nothing. If, unfortunately, I'm wrong, that would be absolutely deplorable. It would be obvious that Bulma couldn't even hope to survive to the end of the day, he says with a hideous smirk. I won't pay any more attention to your pitiful provocations, Moonface, Vegeta says sternly. I know these young people inside out, and I know they won't fail. However, you're a little too prone to opening your big mouth for a god of destruction. Let's let our fists finish this conversation, shall we, he asks. It's at this moment, though, that Vegeta finally realizes something crucial. Bulma. What? What happened? Her ki just disappeared. Why can't I feel it anymore? He thinks to himself, panicking. Vegeta's entire demeanor shifts after this, and his ki becomes malicious as he regrets not being there to protect his wife himself. Oh, I think you noticed the same thing I did, Amaran says with the same hideous smirk. Vegeta is still silent though. Here we are at last, Amaran mocks. Vegeta would charge forth in a fit of absolute rage, completely riled by the apparent death of Bulma, but Amaran is honestly enjoying the fight at this moment, as he even stated he wishes it could last forever. Large quantities of ki are being extinguished all over the world, King Sadala says as he faces off against Dula still. First my soldiers in Broly's attack, then Parsa, and now Vegeta's wife, he says, clenching his fist. Then the cleaning is effective, Dula responds. I should have joined the fight as soon as you set foot on our land, King Sadala says. By refusing to act quickly, I've condemned children, citizens, and soldiers of Sadala to death. Those are some pretty big words for someone who hasn't managed to touch me once, Dula says, laughing. All of a sudden, a few more of his teeth managed to get knocked out, so right now he isn't working with much. King Sadala lands another vicious blow to the gut, causing Dula to curse him, but when he looks up, King Sadala is holding what appears to be a battle axe formulated from ki, holding it over his head like Thor's hammer, and in one simple swing, he severs Dula's arm. Dula begins to panic, looking for some way out of this, but King Sadala is already preparing to wipe him from existence with this next attack, so he asks, if you demons live so peacefully in darkness, then why do you take such pleasure in feasting upon our light? Nothing we can do about it. It's just the way we are, Dula responds. Us demons, born from chaos. All of a sudden, Dula's severed arm comes bursting through the torso of King Sadala as he wonders just how can this be? Was there a portal he wasn't aware of? King Sadala is no pushover though. He summons a monstrous amount of energy in his hand and places it to his torso where that wound is located. What? Doesn't this guy feel pain? Dula says, shocked as King Sadala is barely struggling to move with an entire hole through his body right now. As he finishes, it seems like the hole has been shut and healed for the most part, as King Sadala definitely expended a lot of power to do such a thing, but he's honestly been holding back this entire battle as he lets Dula know that now the time has come. King Sadala's energy starts spiking to enormous proportions, and before Dula knows it, King Sadala would finally reveal his very own Super Saiyan form. Back at the fight between Peppino and Salaga, Peppino seems to be landing some pretty solid attacks on his opponent after revealing his secret technique. How can you do so much damage when I feel almost no threatening ki from you, Salaga asks. Damn Saiyan. You're wrong. I'm neither a Saiyan nor a Tuffle. I'm just a child from planet Sadala. Salaga is no longer amused at this response though. The time for words has long passed, he says. Peppino readies their next attack, but Salaga pierces them straight through the stomach, ending this battle instantly. However, Salaga isn't the only one who has a few tricks up their sleeves. Peppino would appear behind Salaga again all of a sudden and delivers a drive impact directly to his back and sends him flying. Another hologram, Salaga says after being planted into a wall. Yet, this one gives off heat, a smell. Exactly what kind of technology is this, he asks. You seem to place a great deal of importance on rationalizing things for a magician, Peppino replies. Oh, I'm sure I'll learn a lot from you, Peppino, Salaga responds with a wicked grin. But you can duplicate yourself as much as you like, he continues. It's your corpse that will end up on the floor. Peppino delivers another vicious attack on Salaga, this time alongside the hologram. I think I finally understood, Salaga says after that last attack. Certainly his technique does me no small amount of damage, but as for all his other physical characteristics, speed, stamina, and even agility, are all the same. All I should need to do is, but this is when Peppino interrupts and asks, what have you finally understood? That all this is pointless? My swirling force isn't even up to full speed yet. All I need now is a single blow to finish you off. This is when Salaga takes to the skies though and gets a manic look in his eyes. Peppino assumes that this is some sort of retreat, but Salaga begins manifesting a massive attack, and in one fell swoop, Salaga uses this technique to one-shot Peppino, who had no idea what was even hitting him. What was that? Peppino demands as he struggles to get back up. However, his body continues to restructure. Anti-space punch, Salaga replies, or as I like to call this, high-level magic. As you may have gathered already, it consists in being able to hit any obstacle closest to the direction of your shot and no longer takes into account the space between them. The result is an instant impact. So, ready for round 2, he asks, smirking. Salaga then releases a flurry of anti-space punches that send Peppino flying and put humongous strain on his body's restructuring process trying to heal. And now for the highlight of the show, Salaga says as he goes in for the final blow. But all of a sudden, a powerful punch blindsides Salaga and sends him flying. Oh good, you're back. You make my job so much easier, Salaga comments, smiling as Kaba, Califla, and Admiral Fennel finally arrive back at the battlefield. You've done more than enough harm. Time to settle this right here and now, Kaba says, as Chapter 21 of Dragon Ball Kakumei finally comes to an end. Dragon Ball Kakumei. It's been a while, but we are finally back with Chapter 22. Last time, if you guys remember, we left off on Bulma giving updated scouters to the Universe 6 Saiyans, and then she herself would hop into one of the capsules she specifically manufactured to hold living beings. This would make sure that she could stay near and communicate with Kaba and Califla and Admiral Fennel without being detected. With Bulma secure, the Saiyans can now fight at full power without worrying about her safety. Back at the fight with Amaran, the new god of destruction of Universe 14, he warns Vegeta that if he doesn't expose his true power now, if he even has more, then Bulma has no hope of even living until the end of the day. Vegeta assures him, however, that this battle will end in this next clash, but all of a sudden, they both notice it. Bulma's ki has vanished, and without knowledge of the new capsule, Vegeta and Amaran for that matter assume she's finally been killed. This sends Vegeta into an absolute frenzy, which is just what Amaran wanted, but he may have awakened a true beast within Vegeta at this point. King Sadala has also foregone his prior opinion on transformations. Instead of mulling around with these intruders, he finally takes on his Super Saiyan form as well. And speaking of, I need y'all to pull a Zenkai on that like button. Let's try to get at least 99 likes on the video. I like that number today for some reason. Be sure to follow the creators of Dragon Ball Kakumei. All of them will be linked down below as always. But without further ado, let's hop right in. Kaba, Califla, and Admiral Fennel are able to retrieve Peppino before it's too late, as Kaba confirms if he's alright. His body is severely damaged, Fennel says. I'm gonna send him urgently to Tuffle's lab. We'll take care of this, don't worry, Califla roars. But this is when Peppino's weak voice speaks up, telling Admiral Fennel not to worry about him because he has already taken care of everything. Who is he? Fennel asks. All of a sudden, some artificial life form begins to emerge from Peppino's back. His name is Kabiya, Peppino responds. He was created by my father sometime before I was born. Since then, he's been with me everywhere and evolved directly in my body. What interesting technology, Fennel comments, to which Peppino replies that he's pretty proud of it. All of a sudden, both Kaba and Caulifla are smacked by a vicious attack. 2 good slaps to the face to get you back in the fight, Salaga laughs as he extends some sort of astral attack that slaps them both. Super Saiyan 3 Caulifla has yet to show her true power though, and if it's anything like what we saw in the Tournament of Power, this won't be easy for them nor Salaga. She charges in to throw a punch, but he easily catches it and blocks the rest of her combo. When Kaba tries to attack his blind spot, Salaga of course sees this coming, but his confidence may be misplaced as this is just how Caulifla wanted this to play out. She headbutts him, taking a page out of the Sun Family Dojo, which stuns Salaga long enough for Kaba's attack to land. Although this was pretty ineffective on Salaga, the smoke was enough of a distraction for Admiral Fennel to come from his blind spot and land another distracting attack. At this point, Salaga is just getting jumped because Peppino is back in here as well, and he just gets hit from every angle as soon as he turns to someone. Kaba and Caulifla fire off 2 of their signature moves looking to sandwich Salaga in between, but he repels everyone's attacks off of him, calling them insects. Peppino appears in front of Salaga, prepared to finish him off, but his haste may cost him. When we look to see if his attack landed, it's actually Peppino who's been pierced through the torso by Salaga. He tries to grab Salaga's arm, but Salaga tries to slice Peppino from the inside. This is when he notices Peppino's regenerative ability and just how strong it is, as he regenerates at almost the same speed he's slicing him at. With keeping his arm contained long enough, Peppino is able to regenerate his skin around Salaga's limb, which secures his arm pretty solidly to Peppino. When he starts spinning again, he's actually able to rip off Salaga's arm, which finally releases him from Peppino's grasp. Fennel starts shooting at Salaga as his body tumbles across the battlefield, but it's fairly clear that he still has a lot left in the tank. Kaba and Caulifla fly in for the finishing blow with all the strength they can muster up, but Salaga is a lot stronger and a lot more perceptive than we may have given him credit for. He stops them both mid-flight, grabbing them by their necks, using his magic as an extension for his other arm. This is when the worst case scenario unfolds. As Salaga snatches both the Saiyans out of the air, the capsule containing Bulma slips out of his belt and wouldn't be missed by Salaga's perceptive eye. Their hearts beat abnormally fast and fixated on this capsule immediately, Salaga thinks to himself. Oh, I see now. Caulifla tries to keep fighting, but in the next moment, she's completely burnt out by overuse of her Super Saiyan 3 form, Kaba confirming this. Salaga tosses her aside and, using a clone, obtains the capsule where Bulma was hiding. At this point, Peppino and Kaguya have been injured and exhausted, Caulifla is knocked out, and Admiral Fennel's fighting spirit has nearly been shattered. She falls to her knees and reverts back to her base form as she says that it's all over. Just Kaba and herself are no match for this monster. They failed. Kaba's rage won't be tempered so easily though, as he connects a vicious punch warning Salaga to not dare touch Bulma. This is useless, Kaba, Salaga replies. My clone is about to destroy your little capsule. You did your best though, so don't feel bad. Kaba searches the deepest depths of his character, yearning for the strength to conquer this situation. He has no time left though. Right when the Salaga clone is about to crush the capsule, Kaba's rage manifests into raw power as his aura flares up again. You can't even stand on your own feet, Kaba, Admiral Fennel pleads with him. Give up and run away, please. No, Kaba replies prideful. I'm a Saiyan, and if there's anything being a pupil of Vegeta won't let him do, it's definitely run away from a fight instead of looking it head on and dying with that Saiyan pride intact. Kaba launches his strongest attack at Salaga, but it's useless. He just slices right through it. What did you expect? He asks a shocked Kaba. Salaga would end this by shooting Kaba directly through the chest with a beam of his own, as it seems that he's decisively won this battle now, with the only conscious fighter left being a broken Admiral Fennel. She would shed tears of rage, frustration, and disappointment, as there's nothing they can do now to stop this monster from killing Bulma. Hey, these things happen, Salaga assures her. You've given it your all, it just simply wasn't enough, he says, as he crushes the capsule to pieces with the chapter ending on the presumed failure of the Universe 6 Saiyans, resulting in the death of Bulma. Shout out to the Kakumei team for making a big comeback after a few months, and guys, let me know down below in the comments how you felt about this chapter and how just obscenely strong Salaga is for whatever reason. Be sure to hit the sub button and click the notification bell down below because you guys do not want to miss the next chapter of Dragon Ball Kakumei, because we have still yet to revisit Broly's rampage and whatever is going on with that. But that is going to be the video for today. I hope you all enjoyed as always. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. Broly is still going ballistic. Goku is still nowhere to be found, and Dragon Ball Kakumei just returned with one of their biggest twists ever in this month's chapter. The apparent murder of Bulma sent chills down everyone's spine last chapter when Salaga crushed the capsule she was hiding out in while he was fighting Kaba and the others. She was supposed to be completely undetectable in this pocket dimension, but due to them being just a tad obvious, Salaga was able to figure out exactly what was going on. He knew you fellas didn't press the like button yet, but it's okay, he's gonna give you a few seconds. That's what I'm talking about. He was even able to get a hold of the capsule, and before we knew it, the device was completely destroyed. Admiral Fennel would have tears in her eyes as it seems that they failed to protect the one person they pledged to. All of a sudden, a portal manifests within Salaga's hand, however, and it starts sucking him in. I can't move, what's happening? He calls out as he's pulled into the center of the portal, and on the outside, it looks like Bulma has been ejected. So it looks like Bulma is somehow actually alright. When she appears back in the outside world, she sees Kaba and all of the others badly injured from their battle as she thanks them for protecting her. Don't worry, I'll take care of the rest, she says as she activates something on her scouter. This is when we see her newest invention known as the Hoi Poi trap closing off the portal to the inside dimension. When we take a look inside, we see Salaga getting dumped off pretty much where Bulma just was, it seems like, as he takes a look around. This is when Bulma's voice comes over the intercom. Hello, Mr. Demon, she says. Here's your favorite target from the vast lands of Sadala. What have you done to me? He demands, with her replying that his biggest mistake was thinking that she was just helpless prey. How could some vulgar earthling trap me like that? Answer me, he says. It's far from easy to get out of that Hoi Poi capsule you've just crushed with your own hands. There is, in fact, a voice command to be pronounced in Namekian, an almost dead language. Nevertheless, if someone foolishly tries to force the opening or destroy the capsule from the outside, an emergency command is activated and the assailant exchanges positions with the capsule host. And I guess your minions knew all about this, Salaga asks, but Bulma replies that that's actually not the case. We just couldn't have estimated the extent of your powers when we first met you, so there was a possibility that you had the ability to make one of them talk via your magic, hypnosis, or whatever stratagem you could come up with. I decided to keep the secret of the Hoi Poi trap capsule to myself and bet everything on you destroying it once you had it. You were one step ahead. Well done, Salaga compliments. It's amazing that someone as pathetic as you could compensate for this weakness by creating technology of this magnitude. I was actually inspired by a sealing technique from Earth called the Mafuba, she tells him, as well as the genius of the Tuffles. Without their contribution, sealing an abomination like you would have been impossible. But the result is obvious. You are trapped and there's nothing you can do about it, she says. But I think she severely underestimated these ancient warriors. You're in prison, miniaturized in this pocket dimension, she goes on, and I'm safe. Checkmate. Salaga remains as calm as ever though. Well, I admit you had me fooled, he begins. Nevertheless, you've chosen the wrong person to lock up. Do you have any idea who I am, you ignorant bastards? I am Salaga, the magician known as the Master of Dimensions, and to put this in a better perspective, basically this is like when Kurenai tried to use Genjutsu on Itachi. Salaga was never bound to this place to begin with. He appears back outside ready to finish up this pitiful fight, telling them that they're all struggling to stand up as is. You have surprised me though, and I sincerely congratulate you on that. Not many people have managed it, but the time has come to speed this up. You've wasted too much of my time. He emits a shockwave and blows Bulma away, which causes the Saiyans to freak out. She starts flying towards a portal as Salaga plans on separating her from them, flinging her inside. This is when we see Admiral Fennel helping Peppino, who then pleads with her to lend him some of her ki. Kebiya is an entity that feeds on my ki. Without energy, he's ineffective and regeneration is compromised, he says. The same applies to my twirling force attack, which is the humongous move he used in the recent chapters. Thankfully, Finno even has enough ki left to oblige this request in the first place, and this little donation may just be enough to save all of their lives. "Hey, drag queen," Caulifla calls out to get Salaga's attention. He turns around only to get flipped off right to his face, but this split second gives Peppino enough time to come flying in with a crushing kick, stunning Salaga and sending the both of them into that portal as well. Before being sent off, Peppino begs the others not to follow him. They're sent hurtling into a parallel dimension all at the same time, but before Bulma plunges into the mysterious terrain below, Peppino is able to secure her in something that almost resembles the cubes the angels used to travel at times. "You're safe in here. I'm gonna put an end to this whole charade," Peppino assures her. Now, Peppino and Salaga begin their final face-off, with Salaga warning him that they've just signed their death warrant. Here alone in another dimension which they can no longer escape from? "Don't worry about me. We're both in critical state. Let's just get this over with here and now," Peppino says as he begins to power up again, but this time they both start out at maximum power. Peppino dashes in and prepares to block Salaga's anti-space punch. "All I've got to do is create an object in front of me, so it can take the damage for me," he states. Peppino is able to land another crushing blow right to his opponent's torso. Salaga just kind of shakes it off, but he's thoroughly enraged now and kicks Peppino off of him, sending him soaring into the sky. Peppino charges at breakneck speeds next, though leaving a trail of lightning behind him as he slingshots back and lands a piercing blow to Salaga's gut. Salaga is implanted into the ground below from the force of that last attack, but when he emerges, his rage starts taking over. "You may be giving me a hard time now, but you have no idea how much magic I've acquired over the last almost 500,000 years. And I intend to show you. I'm gonna grind you into dust," Salaga says, with the most vile, bloodthirsty look on his face, reverting to something much more demonic looking now. This is Salaga's true power bursting to the surface. However, Peppino is still not impressed. Salaga goes to throw another attack, with Peppino bracing himself and crafting something hopefully strong enough to absorb the impact. However, Salaga's magic proves tricky again as the punch is thrown from the left but comes from the right, completely breaking Peppino's ankles and causing him to take a direct hit. Peppino is sent crashing into the wasteland below as Salaga chases him down mid-flight and sends him flying another direction with another punch. Even with all of the confidence he was showing prior, Peppino admits that he can't take this too much longer and begins putting up a barrier to offer him a little more protection. This is when he starts noticing a smoke infiltrating his barrier though, and using his better judgment, assumes this to be toxic. "That should get you out of the door without too much effort," Salaga says as Peppino, as expected, jumps out of the barrier to avoid inhaling whatever that smoke was. And right into Salaga's grasp he goes as the demon wraps around him like vapors and begins eating away at Peppino's very essence. It's almost kinda scary to see his life being ripped away from his face, and Bulma can do nothing but watch and wait nearby. It's a very recent technique you're undergoing, which I copied from a few creatures made of pure energies on planet Bread who wandered around with the sole aim of finding vitality to feed on. Peppino's vitality is getting ripped from his very body, but all of a sudden, Kaguya roars to life in order to disrupt and manifest a spectral punch, knocking Salaga off of him. This is when Kaguya begins regenerating and even taking it a step further and covering Peppino in this protective and solid armor, activating this new, more powerful mode we've never seen before. Even Bulma's surprised to see just how much fight he still has left in him. "Just another one of your gadgets," Salaga roars. "Know that you won't be surprising me again." "Kaguya, so you were evolving on your own all this time?" "Well, let's see how much it's worth," Peppino states. And he moves so fast that Salaga can't even follow him, and he's getting ping-ponged all over the place. But when Salaga throws another punch, he levels half the battlefield. "This ability actually hurts me." "You're brilliant, that's for sure," Salaga says, laughing hysterically. "So stop this if you can." Salaga suddenly sprouts 4 more arms and begins throwing a flurry of ultra-strong swings, keeping Peppino on his toes, but the young Tuffle hybrid is barely breaking a sweat weaving all of this guy's attacks. We gotta give him his props. Peppino has been progressing and adapting this entire time, it seems like, unbeknownst to Salaga, and he may have finally closed the gap. Salaga creates a massive supernova death ball overhead and declares that with an attack of this magnitude, Peppino has no choice but to stop this attack head on, or else it'll destroy everything in his path as well as him and Bulma. His options have just gone from slim to damn near none, as Peppino has no other option but to muster up the strength within himself to deflect this monstrous attack. Give up. Let yourself be overwhelmed, Salaga screams at him. I can even take your pain away if that will make your choice easier. But Peppino hasn't lost a bit of confidence even in the face of this massive attack, telling this so-called master of dimensions he's already lost. Peppino and Kaguya would shock everyone as with a single attack, they're able to pierce directly through the wizard's biggest attack with such a concentrated force that it's even able to pierce through Salaga himself almost like a special beam cannon. He isn't supposed to be able to impact me, Salaga utters through the pain of being impaled. But of course it wasn't. He planned it all. Well done, Hybrid, Salaga congratulates shockingly. I truly must admit, you've won, Salaga says as the battle over Bulma comes to one of the most shocking endings imaginable in Dragon Ball Kakumei. Bro, it has been months since we've last seen Broly in Dragon Ball Kakumei. He's been raging around for most of the year, but now Kakumei is back and it's time to see what Broly has been up to. The fight between Peppino and Salaga has come to a climax in this month's chapter, with Peppino's last attack finally being enough to land the fatal blow. As Salaga accepts defeat finally, he tells Amaran, Dula, and his brother that he counts on them. I failed in my mission, so as a matter of principle, Salaga says, I'm letting you go back with Bulma, he tells Peppino. But he also warns them that Amaran is far more reckless and dangerous than he is, so they better think twice before stepping to him. As Salaga's life fades away, Kaguya begins the regeneration process again before they go and retrieve Bulma. Bulma gives them a huge thumbs up for winning such an impossible looking battle and are greeted by huge relieved smiles from Kaba and Caulifla as they return to the normal dimension. Hold up, wait a damn minute. Over 80% of you guys watching right now aren't subscribed to the channel. Now, I want to try to work this number down to 50% by the end of 2024. So help your boy out by subscribing to the channel, leaving the like on the video. I promise, put it on everything I know. It is completely 101% free. This young man, I can't believe it, Fennel says in amazement that Peppino really did it. We should really join your mother and the other isolated inhabitants, Bulma says. I'll be safe and the others will take care of the rest. I wonder how the others are doing, Kaba begins. Has Kale managed to calm Broly down? I'm having trouble sensing her ki. To which Caulifla agrees that they need to hurry and get back ASAP, not wasting any more time. Back at the battle between King Sadala and Dula, Super Saiyan King Sadala may have sustained a good bit of damage, but he's still standing tall against his opponent. This is a really sick shot here too, I gotta add. So you can change your hair color too, Dula asks, seemingly mocking Sadala's transformation. Blonde might suit me too. I hate this feeling, King Sadala says, as it looks like he's almost struggling to maintain his mentality in his Super Saiyan form. I gotta put this aside, he roars. Dula decides it's time to be done with these Saiyans altogether. Sadala proclaims that these guys won't be the catalyst for the downfall of the Saiyans, and the two charge at each other again. Dula stops in his tracks though as a feeling of disbelief overcomes him. Even King Sadala notices him freeze up for a second and waits to see what happens next. Where's Salaga, Dula thinks to himself. The bond between us seems to have broken. No, I must be mistaken, it's impossible. King Sadala would take this opportunity to try and catch him off guard, but Dula's portals are still as dangerous and precise as before, as one appears and redirects his punch right back to himself. These portals are a real problem, Sadala mentions. At this rate, I could put myself out of business. He goes for another attack even though Dula creates another portal. Just a trick, King Sadala proclaims, and did we just find a Hercule Easter egg right here? As he somehow bypasses the portal this time and lands a clean hit on his opponent. His temperament and attitude have completely changed though. What's going on? As King Sadala just pounds on Dula, who is in a complete daze right now. Dula continues thinking to himself, earlier, a dimension opened up and I felt our link gradually fade away. I don't understand. King Sadala ain't stopping just because Dula isn't moving, but it seems like it's finally sinking in for Dula that Salaga just might be gone. King Sadala fires a vicious beam to finish off his opponent, but at this very moment, Dula snapped out of it. "I don't think you understand that you're no longer my priority," Dula says to him as his entire demeanor has changed once again. His speed just now was unbelievable. The way he begins to move has changed, becoming abnormal even, with a sinister aura enveloping him. The two engage in another explosive clash, but Dula seems much more sharp now. "If Salaga really is what I think it is, I can swear on my honor that I'll take great pleasure in devouring every citizen of this bloody planet," Dula says. King Sadala refuses to give up though, continuing to try and land a blow, but this is when Dula shows us that not only is he able to make portals, he's also able to heal himself, repairing the damage to his arm and face to the shock of King Sadala. He makes a portal behind him and sticks his arm in, appearing underneath the king and pulling him into the ground. He reaches into another portal that appears above Sadala's head and grabs him by the back of the neck. "Do you really think I'm gonna let myself?" the king starts, but all of a sudden, a horrid feeling overtakes him that takes his breath away. "What was that?" he asks as Dula slams his face into the ground. Bro was gripping King Sadala's neck like he was an action figure right now, as the tables have turned completely, I'm gonna be honest. Dula is beating his ass between two portals before delivering a crushing knee to the gut again, telling Sadala that he should really try not to get hit in the same place twice. He finally releases him as King Sadala rebounds and tells him that he'd be well placed to understand that this injury won't stop him. A blow for a blow. And he returns a vicious knee right back to Dula across the face. King Sadala tries his best to remain in the battle, but even after such a reassuring attack, that previous feeling of dread returns and freezes him up again. "Sadala," a familiar voice says as he begins to be almost pinned down by these mysterious forces. "Don't you have any shame? No remorse? It's all his fault." All of these voices are perished sayings, but this clearly has got to be some sort of mind game by Dula. Sadala recognizes all of these beings though. "You've broken your promise to us," they go on. "We're dead because of you." The mental strain and pressure begins to wear down on King Sadala as he pleads, saying he knows and he's deeply sorry, but he has to move on. He falls out of his Super Saiyan form to his knees, trying to regain control of his psyche. Pitiful. "And that's supposed to be fit for a king," Dula says, mocking the king in such an embarrassing state. But now, it's finally time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Broly has finally been revisited, but the damage he's caused at this point is immeasurable. Dula says to himself. That other fat green-haired guy stopped raging at his mate, it seems, as back at their battle, Broly has finally stopped demolishing Kale. And one less threat. What a jerk, Dula says. Slowly, Broly's pupils return to his eyes as what he's just done to Kale snaps him out of his rampage. For mercy's sake. Calm down, Kale struggles to say, halfway conscious. He lets out another monstrous roar, but this one would be accompanied by tears. Broly's tears fall onto Kale's face, as this proves that he's gained his humanity back somewhat. When we finally see Kale's face, she's been beyond beaten to a pulp by the rampaging Broly, and him snapping out of it and realizing that he did this to her has to be crushing. That piece of trash deserves to pay. For Chile, she stutters, but you've already done enough damage, Broly. Please. I believe in you more than anyone else, she says. She extends her arm out as much as she can and fist bumps his chest before losing consciousness finally. Wait, what's happening to me, Broly says as he finds himself back in his base form. He says that he'd prefer if it had been him instead of Chile, but a grungy voice says no in the distance. Chile and Limo are all we have left, this being says, as when Broly turns around, it's the manifestation of the very rage that just overtook him that he's talking to, almost like a split personality. They're our friends, our family, his rage continues. That demon has to pay, whatever it takes. Rage is the key to our revenge. No, this strength, this innate fury, Broly says, only leads to bad results. It makes us hurt our friends, and You're wrong, his other personality roars. Power governs the laws of this world. With this power, no one will dare attack those closest to us. And before our enemies begin to fear us, how many victims must we claim, Broly pleads? How many more lives are we gonna have to crush with our own hands to make attackers understand that they should have never attacked us in the first place? Go on, tell me. You just don't understand, the other Broly pleads. We have to, but he's cut off again as innocent Broly has had enough of the senseless slaughter. You're the one who doesn't understand, he replies. You're nothing more than a catalyst for my negative emotions, powerful enough to cause harm to my own friends, even those who are doing their best to dissuade me. It took Kale to rub shoulders with death because of me to realize it. I thought I was acting to protect our loved ones, but in the end, I only made them feel fear. Our enemies used me to achieve their goals, and here's where we are now. Broly turns his back on his rage as the manifestation begs him to come back. You can't just get rid of me like that, his now former alter personality would say, but Broly replies with a cold, don't insist. I'll never again resort to this uncontrollable animosity. So that's your plan. You're gonna give up your only chance to destroy that demon, his rage says, doing anything to try and get Broly to succumb to his anger again. Do you really think you can contain the power that lies dormant inside you and that'll never stop growing? I'm gonna deal with you and trust my friends. It's true that this power helps me, but from now on, I'll be the one using you, not the other way around, Broly declares. You're never gonna make it, the rage says, but Broly responds with venom, commanding him to shut up. Broly is making leaps and bounds right now as, with the help of Kale, Broly is beginning to tame his own anger. Back at the fight with Dula and King Sadala, Dula is ready to land the final blow, but out of nowhere, Broly appears and grabs his hand. Something is far different about Broly now though. This new form of his, while still monstrously powerful I'm sure, presents itself as much more tame and controlled than Broly previously. What exactly happened to him? Welcome back, fellas, to another Dragon Ball Kakumei video. Chapter 25 is finally out, and after what we saw last month, this one couldn't come soon enough. At the end of last month's chapter, Broly showed up out of nowhere and grabbed up Dula before he could cause any more trouble, but not only that, he also seems to have mastered his rage. Whether that be temporary or permanent remains to be seen still. The intro for chapter 25 tells us that over on Earth, training intensifies at Dende's sanctuary. The latter shares the history of his people and their special characteristics with the Namekians of Universe 6. Are they here because Piccolo plans to show them the hyperbolic time chamber maybe? Links to all these creators of Dragon Ball Kakumei will be down below in the comments, and if you guys are excited for more content like this, consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing. But without further ado, let's hop right in. Broly's grip is far too strong for Dula to just break free, so he chops the arm off and regenerates it. Huh? He doesn't look mad anymore, Dula says as he notices Broly looks a lot less berserk now. Broly would then land next to a sobbing King Sadala. He apologizes for everything, the fit of rage, the senseless slaughter of his own brothers, and he shockingly chops King Sadala in the neck, knocking him out cold. The other Saiyans around don't really know what to make of this, but if they couldn't handle an out of control Broly, I would just leave this one alone. Wait a minute, Admiral Ruba interrupts them. He's not acting like he did before. He seems to be in full control at last. Please get your king to safety, Broly tells them. When all this is over, I'll accept my punishment. The Saiyans are in disbelief and honestly have no clue what to do until Admiral Ruba would speak up once again, commanding his forces to just do what Broly says. This mastered rage form of Broly has yet to show his true power, but I think it's pretty safe to say that Broly has never looked so calm, yet so dangerous before. You, he roars as he begins approaching Dula. Dula sticks out his hand and tries to stop Broly with a blast, but it doesn't look like he plans on blocking, dodging, or even caring about Dula's attack. The explosion goes off, but when the smoke clears up, as we could probably already guess, Broly is unharmed and hasn't stopped his slow walk towards Dula, who is definitely backing off now. Dula flies into the air and creates another massive blast this time and launches it towards Broly, hoping to make some sort of impact, but again, No effect, as Dula himself says that Broly seems almost invincible at this point. These two are now entire clips away from each other as Broly reaches out an arm asking, "You can regenerate, right?" Well, why on earth would he be asking that? When Broly closes the distance, he uses the exact same technique Dula used on Chile to pierce him through the torso, getting it all the way back in blood. "And that's how you did this, huh?" he says. He pulls his hand out. That was for Chile. "Now regenerate," he demands. "You filthy," Dula begins as he writhes in pain, but is able to regenerate before permanent damage is done. "You're gonna pay for that, I assure you," he goes on. "See what you've just done," Broly continues, giving Dula the meanest glare ever. Chile wasn't so lucky though. "Come on, you can't trick me forever," Dula utters. Broly goes to throw another punch, but Dula is barely able to get another portal up in time. From out of the portal comes some sort of slicing attack that nearly gets him, but he's able to come away with only a face cut. All around him, Dula sets up a number of these attacks, but Broly may just be invincible in this form after all with how much tanking he's doing. "Dula," Amaran says, calling to his subordinate telepathically. "Venerable heir," Dula answers. "Saliga is dead," Amaran tells him, which sends a shock through Dula's entire body. "Unleash yourself," Amaran commands him, as there is nothing really left to be reserved about. "Yeah," Dula replies as he undergoes a similar transformation to the one we saw Saliga take on at the climax of his battle as well, what seems to be kinda like the full potential or release of their magical powers. Broly appears right above him, but when he lands before Dula this time, the sorcerer is finally ready to go all out and leave it all on the battlefield. "Bring it on," Broly tells him, with Dula replying that he couldn't have said it any better himself. Dula launches another massive slashing attack, this one on a much larger scale, and while it does cause some visible damage to Broly, it doesn't really look like it's affecting the legendary Super Saiyan too much. Broly does acknowledge the massive change in the ferocity of Dula's attacks though, as he says to himself the force of these blows and precision increased tenfold. He didn't even see it coming. Could it be his magic? "My physical strength is far less than yours, but my magic can make up for this without any problem," Dula says as he appears behind Broly again. "I am Dula the Summoner, and I'll show you what the honor of my nickname is worth." Broly throws a kick, but his opponent is already gone. Next, Dula would create 5 enormous portals around Broly as he tells him to go on and show me how you defend yourself against this. "These portals are huge," Broly says, stunned. From the portals, demonic monsters start emerging, but Broly refuses to back down and actually makes the first move. He splattered the first monster with a catastrophic punch to the face. The next one was able to catch Broly in his blind spot and smashes him to the ground with his fist. Underneath that monster's fist though, Broly begins firing a monstrous blast of his own, only to be met with a similar attack from his opponent. The massive beam clash between these two behemoths looks almost equal, but Broly's new form is showing a type of strength that even the legendary Super Saiyan isn't the most familiar with. Broly roars with power and overwhelms the monster with his attack, blasting his head clean off his shoulders. Unfortunately, it looks like Broly may be exhausting a bit too much power as his eyes start blanking out again and that out of control look starts coming back. "This form exhausts me. I could lose control at any moment. I've got to stay focused," Broly thinks to himself. Above him though, another monster is about to smash him underneath his foot again, but Broly deadass just caught the foot and then launches himself and this stupid monster into the sky. Yeah, Dula, he is looking kinda indestructible, I'm not gonna lie to you. It looks like you might have bit off a little bit more than a side character can chew. Broly would launch himself high into the outer atmosphere, dragging the monster with him, and when he gets high enough, he tosses the monster even further out in space, and it's good riddance for that fella. Over on the battlefield, there's still another enemy to take care of, so Broly heads back. "You're the last one," Broly says as he goes on to make pretty quick work of the last demon, skating down its arm and in one powerful burst, blasting this guy's head clean off as well. But because of all of this constant energy consumption in this form, Broly is slowly losing more and more control as the form continues to burn up his stamina and energy. "I've got to finish this quick." "Where did he go?" Broly asks. "Behind you, imbecile," Dula calls out as he then summons the mothership. "It's useless," Broly replies as he begins to fire another blast, but the exhaustion is really catching up with him now. With every passing second and every attack, Broly's grip on his own power was slowly slipping away, and now it seems like he's gone again. He's lost control again, Dula says. Luck is always on my side. Dula sends a punch through a portal and hits Broly right in the chin, but he may have honestly just knocked more sense into him than anything, as Broly continues trying to shake off the rage taking him over. You all came here just to hurt me and my friends, Broly says to Dula. I will never be able to forgive you now. You can no longer escape. Dula simply replies, however, that he is just a pawn on the chessboard. But don't worry, I take responsibility for everything I do, he says. Yeah, I'm stuck here. Too bad for you, he finishes. Venerable Heir, he calls out as he envisions the current battle between Vegeta and Amaran. So with a smirk and in the final panel of Dragon Ball Kakumei Chapter 25, Dula the Summoner would undergo another transformation and release the full extent of his power this time. I'm sorry, Venerable Heir, but I've made my choice, Dula finishes as his transformation completes along with Chapter 25 of Dragon Ball Kakumei. Perfect Legendary Super Saiyan Broly versus Full Power Dula and Vegeta versus God of Destruction Amaran marks the beginning of war, starting on Universe 6's planet Sadala and soon to be spread across the entire multiverse when Kansei, the mother of the angels, is truly ready to make her move. With Goku still sealed away in absence and the very visible and weird stress the Grand Priest is under recently, does the currently known multiverse really stand a chance at the end of the day? Let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought of this month's chapter of Dragon Ball Kakumei. I know all of us really have been waiting on Broly to come back, and he has not disappointed ever since he hit the black and white again. I appreciate you guys watching until the end as always, and really quick PSA before we get out of here, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and have those notifications turned on, because this weekend is going to be host the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour 2024, and along with the Dragon Ball Daima panel and the Xenoverse 2 update, it's also already been confirmed that we will be getting a brand new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero trailer at Battle Hour, and I know none of you guys want to miss that. I got no idea what they're going to be showing. Hopefully we see a little bit more gameplay, but at the end of the day, the only thing I really want for Sparking Zero at Battle Hour is a release date, or at least the damn season is coming out. Some of the chatter on social media is revolving around the expectations of gameplay functions being talked about, maybe a little bit of talk about a DLC Pack 1. Give me a release date and let's get all this split screen multiplayer stuff squared away, and I'm going to be happy with Battle Hour. That's really all I want. The trailer and any Q&As with devs on top of that is just a massive bonus to me. But I hope you guys enjoyed Chapter 25 of Dragon Ball Kakumei. Let me know what you're expecting from Battle Hour this weekend. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. I am so glad you just clicked this video right now, because you are not going to be disappointed. Dragon Ball Kakumei is back, and you are about to see some of the best artwork ever made, and it's all made by fans. So if you are caught up to Dragon Ball Kakumei, well, strap in, because this chapter is about to get even crazier. But if not, link to the previous Dragon Ball Kakumei video will be pinned down below in the comments, and up at the top of the screen right now should be the entire playlist as well. So if you guys are new to the story, be sure to go check that out when you have a chance as well. You know what, fellas? I'm gonna forgive y'all for all the name calling and slandering y'all did on that video we did like a year ago from chapter who knows what of Dragon Ball Kakumei. Y'all know what I'm talking about, because it looks like something akin to Ultra Instinct Vegeta might have actually been a thing after all. Fellas, Dragon Ball Kakumei is back this month, and on the cover we cannot forget about Gohan, who's still amidst his training in Universe 11. The caption reads, in Universe 11, Gohan appears to be performing an awakening ritual similar to the one he underwent several years ago. However, this one seems remarkably more introspective and conscientious than the previous one. Will Gohan emerge completely transformed from this experience? And that is where we're going to begin in Chapter 26 of Dragon Ball Kakumei. If you guys are enjoying the Dragon Ball content, consider leaving a like on the video to help us out in the algo, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications. But without further ado, let's hop right into the chapter. Now that Salaga has been defeated and Dula is on the brink, the Universe 14 God of Destruction Amaran has come to a resolve. Amaran, the Venerable Heir, has read Dula's memories and puts his finger on the wonder he felt towards Salaga. He understood much later on that Amaran had sent Salaga to meet him because Dula could never have refused a proposal from the person he admired most. The opportunistic nature of the Venerable Heir led him to play on Dula's feelings, using them against him to win his devotion. Dula was equally quick to understand this, but he didn't attach any importance to it since their respective objectives were so closely aligned already. Indeed, Dula and the others shared a common vocation, glory, certainly on different scales, and it was moving forward with such prestigious people that he convinced himself he couldn't dream of anything better. The echo of his name spread and merged with that of the magicians he admired. Salaga had always considered Dula to be his equal, so he was learning to do the same and see him as his loyal companion. Then the venerable heir's efforts bore fruit and brought them closer to the highest authorities in Universe 14. And which poor demon could ever boast that? Have I left my own mark in my era as Salaga did many years before? Dula wondered in the threshold of the final moments of his life. Dula saw himself as a banal entity moving through the darkness, but paradoxically, his deepest wish was not to end up in oblivion, but to be at the center of the cosmos' brightest light. I surely intend to go out with a bang, Dula roars as we see his power beginning to swell up. He takes his hand and drives it into his abdomen, ripping out a wad of plasma-like aura, and performs a technique known as Death Pact. An enormous monstrosity is formed that threatens to eliminate everything in his path. His energy is concentrating at a single point, Broly says, gasping. He's not gonna... Salaga. Venerable Heir. Thank you, Dula declares. Thank you too for making my life exciting. You really want to end your life? Broly asks, shocked as Dula grabs hold of him. You put me through my paces, Dula admits to him. But I put all my energy into trying to harm you, but it's no use. You are much too strong. But the Death Pact increases my power tenfold by conferring on me all my powers of my predecessor summoners. So I might as well tell you that you have no chance of survival here. His explosion sets off and Broly is in awe as he illuminates the entire cosmos. To die in a firework display visible to an entire planet, that's the bare minimum I deserve, Dula says, as he takes his last glimpse of reality. Above planet Sadala, Dula and Broly are engulfed in this explosion, resembling a nuke in outer space as the Saiyans below can do nothing but watch. If you ask me, Amaran says, your friend had to give up the ghost. That explosion, I'm not sure if I could resist it myself. Broly, you're mad, Vegeta declares as we see Broly charcoaled now in the middle of that ridiculous explosion. All of a sudden though, he starts condensing the energy of the explosion somehow with his own insane power. The explosion seems to have stopped expanding, the other Saiyans below mentioned. What the hell are you doing? Dula exclaims. That Saiyan? He's compressing the explosion, Vegeta gasps. Shut up, Broly says to Dula as he continues to crush him within his hands. I'm not sure how he just did that, I'm gonna be honest, but Dula's explosion has been contained, and now Broly would just fall out of the sky back towards the planet's surface. Admiral Ruba would be there to catch him, telling him, well done, friend. You've saved us all. You can be proud of yourself. Broly would reach to his side looking for Kale, who's still crippled from that raging beatdown he gave her earlier, but at least she's conscious. Call the Tuffle Doctor now, the Saiyans begin calling. Please tell me she's alright, Broly says as he looks for Kale. She's not in very good condition, Ruba says, but you can thank her, Broly. It's thanks to her that you were able to regain consciousness. Broly continues to apologize for his deadly outburst earlier, and it's at this moment when Kale would try to get up. The others would beg her not to exert too much with all of her injuries as Broly rushes over to her and continues apologizing. Vegeta yells at him to move out of the way though as a deadly attack comes his way. Amaran senses chains at Broly, but Vegeta is somehow able to get him out of the way in time. As far-sighted as I may be, I must admit I never thought for a second that my subordinates would die today. And they did, so my sincere congratulations, Amaran says. But Vegeta tells him to spare them the speech. Your wife is safe, however, Vegeta. That's what matters, isn't it? Vegeta realizes that he was so focused on the battle at hand that he hadn't even felt her ki reappear. What a relief, he thinks to himself. So, nothing seems to be going according to plan after all, huh, God of Destruction, he says to Amaran. But listen, man, I don't recall anyone saying that plans have changed. Please don't think that your victory is a foregone conclusion. I won't let you go, Vegeta. I asked you to show me your maximum power and you didn't obey. Yet, I've seen it in your recent memories, that power. But now I've lost my patience. Vegeta warns everyone to watch out and get out of the way as a catastrophic attack is unleashed by the God of Destruction. Amaran would unleash an attack that seems almost similar to a domain expansion, cleaving through the Saiyans on the ground like it was nothing and leaving a scene similar to a horror movie. I don't think there was a single Saiyan in this attack's path that was quick enough to save anybody else, let alone themselves. Admiral Ruba is in a state of shock as he can only watch his comrades being obliterated, tears welling up in his eyes, and this would unfortunately be the push that was big enough to propel Admiral Ruba into becoming a Super Saiyan, but Amaran just tears right through him with his scythe as well, taking off one of his arms as well as leaving this huge gash in his torso. Amaran appears in front of the wounded Admiral Ruba and prepares to finish him off, but this is when Broly would turn around and notice that Vegeta has disappeared. When we look back, Vegeta has reappeared in front of Amaran and knees him in the face. Here it is, Amaran comments excitedly as it seems that he's seen exactly what he's been waiting for now. That's exactly what I saw. He used it. I didn't even see him move, and yet, Broly would say as all of the Saiyans are left stunned by what Vegeta has just done. King Sadala would finally wake up now with all of his comrades surrounding him. Where's the demon? What happened, he asked. They let him know that Broly defeated the demon. Now all that's left is the masked guy. Oh, what a relief, King Sadala exclaims, but when he looks up, not only does he see all of the carnage across the battlefield that Amaran just caused, but Vegeta has finally displayed his true power that up until this moment, not many people knew about. The exact power that Amaran witnessed Vegeta using in his memories. And in the very last panel of chapter 26 of Dragon Ball Kakumei, we can see that Ultra Instinct Vegeta has finally been born. But I'm gonna be honest, is Ultra Instinct Vegeta even enough to take out a God of Destruction who just one-shot majority of the Saiyans on the battlefield? So I gotta know down below in the comments, fellas, how are y'all feeling about Ultra Instinct Vegeta in Dragon Ball Kakumei? Yes, Goku is still locked away in Universe 0 somewhere, Gohan is still training on Universe 11 with the Pride Troopers, but Vegeta and Broly are doing everything they can to keep Planet Sadala and Universe 6 safe. Although Amaran, the new God of Destruction of Universe 14, seems like a much different entity than all the other gods and way more determined and vengeful too. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Let me know down below in the comments how you guys felt about this. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like this chapter was a little bit shorter than usual, but maybe it's just because we didn't get one last month. Hopefully in the near future, Kakumei can go back to being bi-weekly, but I think Poison is in school. That's why they kind of have delays sometimes. I think bro's like 17, 18 years old, so they kind of have to work around his schedule. But anyways, let's go ahead and wrap this one up, fellas. Links to all of the creators of Dragon Ball Kakumei will be linked down below. Consider leaving a like on the video on your way out if you did enjoy the content to help us out in the algorithm a little bit. And if you somehow haven't by now, don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications to never miss a Dragon Ball upload as soon as they go live. Have a great day, fellas. Stay safe. And with the super manga on break for probably at least a couple of months now, we're going to use this as an opportunity. I want to summon for Ultra Golden Frieza and Dragon Ball Legends. I'm going to be honest. I want to play some Tenkaichi. I haven't even uploaded my second Dragon Ball Super card game video. That's been waiting for like over a week now. And even if there's no news that day, I just want to talk about Sparking Zero with y'all. I feel like we all enjoy that. Dragon Ball Kakumei ended last month with Vegeta being dealt out some serious disrespect at the hands, or I guess feet, of Amaran after being impaled by his hook and chain and plastered up against a cliffside. Amaran had really taken things up a notch in chapter 27 after learning about the defeats of both Dula and Salaga, so he began an all-out rampage on all of the same. Vegeta, not having perfected his Ultra Instinct-like transformation yet, wasn't able to completely overwhelm Amaran before becoming exhausted and distracted enough for the tables to turn. Now it seems like things are about to get even worse, with many of the Saiyans having been slaughtered, the remaining completely exhausted from their prior battles, and Vegeta is being mauled for trying to fight all out and protect everyone at the same time. As chapter 28 opens, it seems like the fate of the Saiyans on planet Sadala, as well as King Sadala himself, may be at the hands of the Universe 14 God of Destruction, Amaran. Also, according to Rinko over on Twitter, this arc will be coming to an end after the conclusion of this entire situation with Amaran, so if you guys are excited for the new arc in Dragon Ball Kakumei coming soon, consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with the most entertaining Dragon Ball content. We also got a little bit of stuff coming from the 6th anniversary of Dragon Ball Legends here, but without further ado, let's hop right into chapter 28 of Dragon Ball Kakumei. So Vegeta is already running low on HP as chapter 28 of Dragon Ball Kakumei begins with him having a foot still firmly on the back of his head. Aren't all those bandages enough? You want me to add some medical dressing too? Caulifla calls out, trying to get Amaran's attention, calling him a coward and telling him to attack people who are still fit to fight. Amaran simply looks up and then continues speaking to Vegeta, saying, "You really surprised me. But as I've seen, this victory was mine all along." "Shut your mouth," Vegeta barks back at him, telling Amaran he'll get his soon enough. Next, Amaran lands a solid kick across Vegeta's face, toying with him until Vegeta falls to his knees, but then turns his attention away to someone else, saying it would be so easy for him to kill Vegeta right now, but then he starts approaching Caulifla. "Observe, Vegeta. I'll take your henchman like you took mine," Amaran says, intending to eliminate the rest of the Saiyans while Vegeta is helpless to watch. Vegeta begs him to keep his focus on him as an opponent, but Amaran mocks him for not even being able to fight anymore, so what hope does he have to save anyone? King Sadala and the rest of the warriors remaining spring into action with him commanding anyone still able to fight to protect Sadala to the death. So with a decently sizable amount of Saiyan warriors left, including Kaba, Caulifla, and Admiral Fennel, they head to the front line and all proceed to transform into Super Saiyan. You would never understand. Even at death's door, Saiyans will keep on fighting. That's the pride of our people, King Sadala declares, with Vegeta finally getting back to his feet. "Well, what an honor," Amaran replies with this sadistic smile on his face. "I can't wait." And one thing I do want to point out here is that even this aura around Amaran has gotten far more sinister in the past few minutes. Like, he's just exuding evil now. He's all for the slaughter just by the look on his face, and while the Saiyans all seem prepared to die for Sadala, Vegeta begs them to run, knowing they have absolutely no chance to compare to Amaran's power. Kaba has to seemingly remind Vegeta, though, as he transforms into a Super Saiyan 2, that this is their home, so they don't plan on backing down or going anywhere. Vegeta pleads and tries to warn them that they're no match for Amaran and only death awaits them, but Kaba roars back, telling Vegeta that if that's the case, then they should hurry up and just get it over with, tears in his eyes now as he has to almost remind Vegeta what true Saiyan pride is, no matter how futile it may seem. Amaran takes off, charging at the Saiyans, and within an instant is right in Kaba's face. Kaba freezes in place, whether it be from fear or anger, almost like time itself stopped momentarily, but this is when Amaran produces his scythe once again and launches it at the helpless Saiyan. Fortunately, Admiral Lyric is there and able to react in time quick enough to shove Kaba out of the way, but the scythe pierces his own forearm and slices off one of his hands. He calls out for Caulifla to come in and deliver her attack now that Amaran seems to be somewhat held in place, but this gruesome sicko just rips the scythe back, tearing the Saiyan's forearm from the elbow down, just straight down the middle. Kaba and Caulifla stop mid-flight in the air as Amaran brings his chain back around, and they look for another opening through the God of Destruction's defense. Kaba tries to fly in for a kick, but Amaran easily ducks out of the way and then hits Kaba in the gut with an elbow, causing him to cough up blood. From his left, Caulifla begins firing ki blasts that Amaran easily blocks with his other arm. He brings the scythe back around through the smoke and debris, and on the other side, slices an arm off of Admiral Ruba this time now. But Amaran's next attack would be his most devastating. It was so severe that it literally tears through the entire army of Saiyans, mutilating almost all of them in the process. This is the moment in time where Kaba makes a fatal mistake. He begins to lose full control of his emotions and starts to charge directly at Amaran in a fierce blind rage. Vegeta and Caulifla, with tears in her eyes, yell out for him to stop, but Caulifla is going with a full head of steam, prepared to throw his life away. Amaran would use his power to stunt Kaba in his attack, but the Saiyan just keeps charging forward, and through just fierce determination and overwhelming strength, seems like he's able to land somewhat of a hit on Amaran, but Kaba, foolishly letting his guard down, is wide open now and defenseless to an attack coming from a blind spot. As Amaran's hook and chain makes his way back around to his master, King Sadala yells out, telling Kaba to get out of there, but by the time he turns around, it's too late. This is easily one of, if not the most gruesome ends I've seen a Saiyan experience, as Amaran calls Kaba nothing but a poor, reckless Saiyan. To everyone's shock, well, to the shock of everyone still conscious at least, but especially to the dismay of both Caulifla and Vegeta, Kaba has not only just been impaled through the chest with his heart in Amaran's hand sticking out of his back, But Amaran's scythe has also been lodged directly in Cabba's throat as the very life in his eyes begins to fade away, along with his transformation in the last page of Dragon Ball Kakumei chapter 28. And yes, in yet another chapter, Vegeta was unable to protect his fellow Saiyans from a gruesome destruction in Rampage, but with Cabba now presumably dead, I hope in the coming chapters this isn't going to end up being in vain for him. As Cabba's lifeless body hangs from Amaran's arm, even I'm beginning to lose the little hope I had left for Sadala Saiyans to make it out of this alive. That is going to do it for this one, guys. A pretty somber chapter of Dragon Ball Kakumei this month, with possibly another death before the true war with the angels even begins. Planet Sadala and the Saiyans were brought to their knees by just 3 individuals, and even with only 1 remaining, the odds are still stacked against them. Down below in the comments, let me know what you guys thought of Dragon Ball Kakumei chapter 28, because I'm gonna be honest, at this point, unless Gohan and Jiren show up or we, find some Pataras around here somewhere, I really don't see how Vegeta and the Saiyans pull this one off. It's got to be a miracle. But once again, if you guys have been enjoying the content, Dragon Ball Kakumei and similar stories alike, especially, don't forget to drop a like before we get out of here. And also be sure to follow the creators of Dragon Ball Kakumei as well. All those guys will be linked down below in the pinned comment. So go support them so they can continue making this fire fan manga. But anyways, have a great day. Stay safe. And I'm going to see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. Oh, I know y'all didn't think I would forget about Dragon Ball Kakumei this month, fellas. I couldn't let y'all down that have been waiting on this. But as excited as we are for this month's chapter, the brutality the Saiyans have been enduring at the hands of Amaran isn't letting up. When he brought out the sickle, Amaran unleashed some of the most devastating attacks we've seen thus far across planet Sadala. Vegeta's new technique, very reminiscent of Goku's Ultra Instinct sign, gave Amaran the challenge that he'd wanted from Vegeta, but in the end, even this wasn't enough to help him save the Saiyans. At the end of the most recent chapter, Cabba foolishly charged at Amaran without a chance in the world, and thanks to this, he would meet the most gruesome end yet: a scythe through the neck and a fist through his chest. The other Saiyans, Vegeta and Caulifla specifically, look as if they've seen a ghost. They just can't believe that just like that, Cabba had pretty much thrown his life away in the blink of an eye, but now, what does Vegeta do from here? Guys, as always, the original creators of Dragon Ball Kakumei will be linked down below in the description and comments. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to help us get that much closer to that 1 million sub milestone. Consider leaving a like on the video as well if you've been enjoying all the Dragon Ball content, including Kakumei and Sparking Zero. But let's go ahead and hop right into this. It's actually a pretty long chapter this month. Amaran has gone too far in chapter 29 of Dragon Ball Kakumei, with the first thing he does being ripping Cabba's heart from his chest and holding it in his hand for all to see like he's an Aztec or something. Across the battlefield, Caulifla roars in distress and anger, and for whatever reason, looks like she's about to make the same mistake as Cabba, charging in on Amaran in a fit of rage. Amaran responds by shooting a finger beam at her, but Caulifla scoffs at an attack like this, asking Amaran just what does he take her for, an idiot or something? All of a sudden, though, she realizes that there's not just one, but 2 beams headed her way. The first one was hiding the second one, almost like I think it was the Shadow Shuriken Jutsu from Naruto. Noticing this too late though, Caulifla would take a piercing blow to the hip from Amaran's attack and fall out of her transformation. Admiral Fennel could only utter the words, "It's over," as tears run down her face as well. "The despair in your eyes," Amaran says as he prepares another massive attack. "There's no fighting spirit left in you. It's pitiful. I'm now disappointed." Elsewhere on the battlefield, King Sadala seems to be giving the last of his energy to Vegeta as an extension of the faith he has in his fellow Saiyan. After everything that's happened, it doesn't really surprise me that Vegeta has tears in his eyes either, as he looks on at his opponent with nothing but hate behind those tears. Amaran awaits whatever Vegeta chooses to approach him with, as King Sadala falls from exhaustion after transferring his remaining ki to Vegeta. Vegeta would now start to make his way back to the battle good as new. Now, we back in the game. Look at the pump. Look at this unit right here. Fellas, you know what? Never mind. Moving on. Vegeta charges his power and lets off a vicious amount of energy as he transforms back into Super Saiyan Blue Evolved. But even as helpless as things may seem, Someone like Goku would never give up, so Vegeta can't give up on him, and with the lasting faith and memory of Kakarot, Vegeta can almost feel his presence with him, pushing him towards victory. For all of the Saiyans that have perished here, for everyone that I've failed to protect, Kakarot too. Sorry. Vegeta's demeanor begins to change as he says that he already died and has literally been through hell, but obviously you haven't, he goes on. So I intend to show you a real taste of it. These two Titans engage in an intense standoff with the remaining Saiyans watching. For him, saving Son Goku is more than just a passion, Colorful comments. She can almost feel the unbreakable determination in Vegeta's eyes. Such mental strength, Fennel states. All of a sudden, Vegeta and Amaran take off towards each other, with Amaran landing the first hit, a clean punch to Vegeta's gut. Vegeta just shrugs off this first blow though and gives Amaran a kick across the face in return. For him, it's all about honoring his destiny, Cauliflower would finish as she continues watching Vegeta. The intensity picks up again as Vegeta starts to take control of the pace of the fight. Son Goku? So that's who Vegeta was talking about, Admiral Fennel comments. Yes, Broly replies as he hurries over with Cabba's lifeless body. Vegeta usually seems cold, Broly continues, but his only desire is to save Son Goku's life in turn. Kale takes one look at Cabba and bursts into tears, but this battle is far from over, and in a time like this, there is little time for mourning. In any case, Broly continues, this Son Goku has helped me a lot too. From what I've seen, Vegeta has been indebted to him for years, even if I don't really know why. Vegeta fires another enormous flash at Amaran that blows him away and creates a massive trail in his wake. In the debris, Amaran walks forward from the smoke, cursing Vegeta, reminding him that he's got a punctured shoulder, multiple fractures, and your ki is almost depleted. It's getting real theatrical. How can you stand up still, he asks. Now, Vegeta looks terrible here, don't get me wrong, like he's on his last leg, but you're gonna have to kill him to get him to stand down against you. He kisses his teeth, replying, let me ask you again, he starts, but all of a sudden, Amaran surprisingly collapses, down to one knee and then both, before falling completely to the ground and rolling over on his back. Well, it's about time, you filthy jerk, Vegeta calls out. You've been playing hard to get, but in the end, the result remains the same. We're both at the same point. Using your destructive technique on such a larger scale necessarily requires large amounts of energy. No technique is perfect, I must admit, Amaran says humbly now. No one but Lord Drommel has ever pushed me to such extremes. And that power you used. But one thing is for sure, the end is nigh. I'll remember this planet and its fighters. Especially you, Vegeta of Universe 7, he goes as he extends a finger. Vegeta warns him to not use the last bit of strength he has and get over here because something tells him that those two minions of his would miss him. Amaran foolishly expels the last of his strength to try and shoot Vegeta, who effortlessly dodges. No need for Ultra Instinct. Vegeta charges in, reeling a knee back as he grabs Amaran by the back of the head and crushes his ribs with a vicious knee. At this point, Amaran can't even stop himself properly from flying away thanks to that attack, and now looks completely helpless on the ground. A complete 180 from a few chapters ago when he was tearing the Saiyans apart. Vegeta continues walking towards him. He tells Amaran that ever since his arrival here, you've done nothing but sell yourself as the new god of destruction of Universe 14. Yet, you seem to forget that you're nothing more than a spare will for the deities. You're not an immortal being, he says. Amaran grits his teeth as he can't believe he's been defeated here like this. Lord Drommel has set his sights on me. Me, Amaran. I was only a lost being who now rubs shoulders with the divine. I was chosen by the highest authorities. I have received the blessing of the gods. This is when Amaran begins to have an explosive outrage of ominous ki, causing Vegeta to actually take a step back now. What? How can he? Vegeta thinks to himself, but Amaran vows that he won't lose to what he used to be. To lose to what you used to be? Excuse me, Vegeta says angrily. You who sit above it all have no idea what drives us mortals to fight every day, he roars at him. Amaran howls Vegeta's name in hate, but Vegeta silences him immediately, forbidding him to speak his name. It's at this point that Amaran takes off flying into the sky until he comes to a stop in space above planet Sadala. He takes aim down below and begins charging that ominous key again. Vegeta begins preparing an attack of his own in his fist without so much as taking his eyes off of Amaran. Once I'm finished with you, I'll free my allies and hasten your end. It's only a matter of time, Amaran says. Yeah, this dude is definitely in some type of denial or something. I don't know, this is sad now. Vegeta, within the blink of an eye, appears before Amaran in the sky, even to the god's surprise, saying, "And you honestly think I'm gonna let you do as you will?" It's at this moment, Vegeta delivers the most vicious punch of the entire fight, freezing Amaran and crushing any remaining strength he had left in the process. He gets sent hurtling into the surface of the moon from that blow from Vegeta and plastered within the crater. "This is impossible," he screams out in defeat, and hey, this is starting to look a lot like a One Punch Man chapter for real now. Like, damn, these guys are good, man. But this is when Vegeta would do something I thought I would never see from him after this. "Get the hell out of here," he screams to Amaran, who also looks up in complete shock. "Find your superior scum," Vegeta continues, "and send them a message from Vegeta of Universe 7. Whether it's today or tomorrow, we're ready and waiting for you," he says while powering up. "You've declared war on us, so get it into your heads that you're gonna lose." Amaran cries out in pain again as he falls out of the crater, with Vegeta telling him that he will never forget what he inflicted on the people of Sadala. On Kaba. "I'll never forget it. So train as much as you like. This humiliation will haunt you for the rest of your life. Pray you never cross my path again. You've overestimated your own nature. You are and will always be a mere mortal," Vegeta tells him while surprisingly sparing his life. "Apparently I don't have much choice," Amaran utters in reluctant agreement. "I'm gonna leave this miserable planet, but I'm telling you right now, Saiyans will disappear from the multiverse in the very near future. Enjoy your last days of peace, Vegeta." Vegeta extends his hand and starts preparing one final attack. "You're drained of all energy," Amaran says, "and the slightest attack will doom you." Vegeta was seconds away though from firing his Big Bang attack when suddenly Amaran's staff is summoned, and before he's decimated, is able to presumably escape back to Universe 14 thanks to the cube. Vegeta lowers his attack, choosing to let Amaran escape, and takes a deep sigh, saying, "He's finally gone." But if he's gone, then why does this feeling persist, he says to himself. This feeling that now we're in even more danger. Back in the frozen realm of Universe 0, the Grand Prix seal is beginning to crack. So much so that Kansei, the mother of the angels, seems to be able to move. That is going to do it for this one, fellas. And with that, the training arc of Dragon Ball Kakumei has come to a close. Next, the war arc starts, if I'm not mistaken, but Kakumei is going to be taking a 2-month break with everyone enjoying the summer, I assume. The next chapter and the next arc begins in September, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because if the war arc is about to begin, then you fellas know the place to be. But anyways, have a great day, and I really hope you all enjoyed this chapter. Be sure to go and support all the creators of Dragon Ball Kakumei as well. These guys are amazingly talented. Links will be down below in the description, and I will almost certainly see you guys soon enough with some more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. But have a great day, and I'm gonna see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.